Imagine if you were walking through a desolate forest on a dark night, and suddenly you encountered a creature with eyes glowing red in the darkness, and one as big as a human. Would you believe this ever really happened? Yes, friends, millions of years ago, creatures like these existed on Earth called giant scorpions. This was a time when there were no humans, no cities, no civilization, only giant insects, sea creatures, and strange reptiles. Back then the air was so pure and oxygen-rich that even insects could grow as big as baby elephants. Imagine a scorpion ranging from 3 to 8 feet in length. Its claws were so strong that it could tear a fish or small creature to pieces with a single blow. The Earth's atmosphere was warm and humid, and these giant scorpions ruled marshlands and shallow seas. They would wait for hours for their prey, and as soon as they sensed movement they would catch it in the blink of an eye. Their eyes were far more sensitive than any modern predator. Their body structure allowed them to walk on land and submerge in water. Scientists believe that these creatures originated on Earth approximately 450 million years ago. That era was the most mysterious chapter in Earth's prehistoric story. To that time, every creature on Earth was so large that today's standards seemed dwarfed by them. This was a time when there was no trace of humans, nor were animals in control. Only nature reigned on Earth, and these giant scorpions ruled over it. Their stings contained not venom but power, a power that controlled the entire ecosystem. About 450 million years ago, the Earth looked completely different. There were no cities, no trace of humans. The entire world was shrouded in fog, heat, and humidity. The oxygen content in the atmosphere was much higher than today, over 30%. This is why the insects and creatures of that time became extremely large. Much of the Earth was covered in swampy forests, warm lakes, and shallow seas. Sunlight filtered through dense clouds, creating a mysterious glow. Trees were replaced by giant ferns and algae. The atmosphere was so humid that it would be impossible for modern humans to breathe. Along with oxygen, the air also contained high levels of methane and carbon dioxide. Giant insects, crabs, and strange-looking sea creatures swam in the oceans. This was the period when the first arthropods, or insects, evolved on Earth. One of these branches was scorpions. Initially, these were aquatic creatures catching prey with their large claws. Their bodies were covered in thick armor, protecting them from the cold and water pressure. Gradually, they began to change. Their lungs developed, and their eyes became sharper. This was a moment in Earth's history when life first moved from water to land. Nature itself was conducting an experiment. Which creatures would survive and which would perish? And from this experiment, giant scorpions were born the size of humans. Every corner of the Earth trembled with the echo of their footsteps. They were truly the first predatory kings of the Earth. The story of these giant scorpions begins in the depths of the ocean. Scientists have found their fossils in rocks in Scotland, Germany, and the United States. They were named Brontoscorpio anglicus, meaning thunder scorpion. This scorpion was about 1 meter, 3 feet, long, and its sting was as sharp as a spear. Its armor was so strong that even the teeth of small creatures could not penetrate it. It would capture prey with its claws and slowly suck and devour it. But the real monster was Carboniferous rhenanii, considered the largest scorpion on Earth. He measured about 2.5 meters, 8 feet, long, the length of a human. It would hide in the water like a crocodile, hunting and attacking with lightning speed. Its eyes were compound, meaning it could see in multiple directions simultaneously. Its movement seemed slow, but when it struck, no one could escape. Scientists believe these creatures were super predators of the sea. They were kings of their territory. No fish, crab, or creature could stand them. Fine lines have been found on their skin, indicating they were extremely adept at swimming. Sometimes they would even crawl out of the water onto the shore, searching for their next prey. That time there were no humans or animals on Earth, only these giant scorpions, and the sea trembling in fear. Their armor would flash with every wave, sending a wave of fear through the water. They were a living example of the power of nature. And today their fossils give us a glimpse into that amazing and terrifying world. These giant scorpions neither lived in groups nor had any mates. Each scorpion was the king of its territory, having complete control over its territory. They spent most of their time hidden in wet swamps or shallow water. Their bodies were covered in a hard shell that protected them from predator attacks and the heat. They hunted at night, because darkness was their greatest ally. Their eyes could detect even the slightest movement in the dark. When something approached, they would lunge forward, silently, and strike with lightning speed. Their claws were no less than a hunter's sword, and their sting was a symbol of death. They devoured small sea creatures, fish, and sometimes even scorpions like themselves. Occasionally they would leap out of the water onto land, where they preyed on insects. Their size was so enormous that no one dared to challenge them. They first grabbed their prey, then crushed it with their claws, and then sucked it dry. Every creature on Earth feared them, for they were nature's first true super predator. Their every move shaped Earth's early food chain. This means they were not only predators but also creators of Earth's ecosystems. Over time, the Earth's surface began to change, and the oceans began to shrink. Many giant scorpions began to migrate from their habitats. Gradually they began to change their bodies, adapted to the conditions on land. Scientists believe that some species began to leave the water and come to land. Their lungs gradually evolved into book lungs, meaning they began to breathe air. This was the time when scorpions first began to walk on land. The land was initially barren, but these scorpions drew the first traces of life there. Their armor served as a shield against the dry and hot environment. They began to subsist on small creatures, insects, and eggs. Their claws became strong enough to grip the ground and their eyes sharp enough to see far. This was the moment in the evolution of the Earth when the sea monsters moved towards becoming the kings of the land. Gradually new species of scorpions started being born which exist till today. Their size became smaller but their cleverness and vitality increased. That is, the sea monsters had now transformed into land hunters. And this is how the real lineage of scorpions started on Earth. The environment at that time was very different from today. Oxygen levels in the atmosphere reached approximately 35%. This high oxygen level increased the size of organisms to an unnatural extent. Insects, spiders, and scorpions grew many times larger. Both prey and predators on Earth became enormous. The air contained more oxygen, so their bodies needed a larger surface area to breathe. This is why their armor and bodies were so large. As oxygen levels decreased, their bodies also began to shrink. Nature gradually eliminated their gigantic form. But they had already played their role in Earth's balance system. The small scorpions we see today are descendants of these giants. They still possess the same venom, the same tricks, and the same hunting instinct. They may have become smaller, but the instinct remains the same. They are Earth's first hunters, and today's silent killers. Nature has reduced them, but not eliminated them. As the Earth cooled, oxygen levels decreased and the oceans shrank. This change spelled doom for these giant scorpions. Their large bodies needed more oxygen to survive. But as oxygen in the air decreased, their bodies slowed down. Prey became scarce, energy depleted, and they gradually disappeared. Many species died in the depths of the ocean, their bones buried in the layers of time. Some tried to survive on land, but the conditions there were difficult for them. The new generation of Earth's smaller scorpions, these forms survived. Thus the era of giant monsters ended and new species were born. Every creature on Earth changed with time, but these scorpions became history. Today we can only imagine what they might have looked like by looking at their fossils. The marks of their claws and armor are still present in the rocks. Every fossil tells a story of strength, development, and destruction. Nature created them and also destroyed them. This is the law of time. And this is also the biggest mystery of the Earth. Centuries later, scientists discovered traces of these giants deep within the Earth. Fossils found in the rocks of Germany, Scotland, and America opened the history books. These bones and claw marks revealed that these creatures were as large as humans. The fossil of Carboniferous rhenanii created a sensation in the scientific world. Its claw alone was larger than a human hand. Microscopic examination revealed that their bodies were made of armor-like layers. The structure of their stings suggests that they were deadly predators. Traces of water and soil on some fossils indicate that they lived near the coasts. Each discovery confirmed that the Earth was once home to these giants. And even today, their shadows remain alive in scientific laboratories. Imagine what would happen if those giant scorpions still existed on Earth today. Would humans be able to stand up to such a massive predator? Perhaps going out at night would be impossible. Drones would fly in the sky, not on the roads, solely for surveillance. No one would dare swim in the oceans, because an 8-foot-tall scorpion would be lurking below. They would hunt by hiding in fields, forests, and cities. Humans might fight back with technology, but would succumb to the power of nature. Every night would be filled with fear, death lurking in every shadow. And then we would understand who the true master of the Earth is. Because nature, not humans, has always been supreme. Earth's history teaches us that power is never permanent. Those who were once kings of the Earth are now buried in rocks. Nature creates and destroys, it just takes time.